Hi everyone, this is Chris again at Cork and Crown. I said I was going to do some films, do some tastings, so let's do one. The one I'm going to try today is this one from Ross-on-Wye Cider in Herefordshire. This is the Major, that's the varietal, single variety, the Major apple. That is one I'd never had actually until I tried this cider. So Ross-on-Wye tend to a lot of barrel aging, grow all their own fruit, very non-interventionist, and don't do a lot of sweet ciders. Tends to be dry ciders, and I have a sweet tooth, so I had to train myself very hard to appreciate dry ciders. And to be honest, the people who helped me do that the most were Ross-on-Wye. Dave at Ross-on-Wye very kindly gave me about 15 samples of various single varieties in different formats. I worked my way through them all, and I had a light bulb moment, and this is one of the ciders that actually did it. So I have a soft spot for this stuff. So hazy, got some yeast and stuff in there in the bottom, sediment. This is a blend of a couple of different vintages. I think they do a lot of barrel aging. Let's open it up and try it. Bit of a hiss when it opened, so it's not dramatically fizzy, but you can see it's carbonated. Yeah, I think bottle conditioned. I might be wrong. I will check. I believe it to be bottle conditioned rather than false carbonated. So you can see the colour, quite a nice gold, hint of amber possibly, a little bit of a sparkle, slight haze, so unfiltered. Don't know how well you can see that. Unfiltered is good, keeps the flavour in. People don't seem to mind hazy stuff these days. People are getting used to craft beers rather than people just drinking pilsners all the time, which basically are, by definition, are bright, clear beers. That's why they became so popular. One of the reasons they became so popular. But the craft beer movement has certainly educated people into non-filtered beers being absolutely fine to drink. And people are less scared about hazy stuff anymore. And that goes for cider as well. So yeah, nice colour. This is a tasting glass. It's a wine tasting glass. But let's just think about this. This is a great thing to taste from if you want to taste things properly, because this tapers to the top, which means it tapers towards your nose, which means all the aromas go up your nose when you smell it, so you get the most out of it. I'm going to do a separate video, I think, on tasting and this sort of stuff. But anyway, this is a good thing to use if you want to taste things properly. Good thing to do as well, if you want to taste it properly, like smell it properly rather, at first. Swirl it around. If you do it on a surface like this, or in the air, you're much less likely to spill it, so this is the way you should do it. Let's have a smell. I mean, it's interesting. This is not a commercial cider. Right off the bat you can tell. Got lots of nice fruit in it. A little bit of funk, farmyardiness. That's a good thing. I like that. A bit spicy as well. Various spices in there. A really nice nose, really interesting nose. So let's have a taste. Nice tannin. So the tannin is the stuff that makes your teeth go squeaky, dries your mouth out. If you want to experience it full on, put a tea bag and a cup of hot water, leave it for 20 minutes, come back and drink it. Then you'll experience the tannin, that squeakiness. This is bone dry. However, there's loads of fruit in it. There's a leatheriness that comes from tannin, so it can be perceived as bitterness. And apples are classified as sharp, sweet, bitter, sharp, and bitter, sweet. And the bitter element refers to the tannin. It's not only something that you experience as a texture in your mouth, a drying, a stringency, but there's a bitterness as well, a leatheriness to it, which actually balances sweetness rather well. If you've got a sweet cider, you actually want tannins in it to balance the sweetness. So, I mean, I'm getting really red, ripe apple off this. I'm getting leatheriness off it. I'm getting minerality, which to me is like licking a wet stone. That's what I think of when I think of minerality, just that sensation. But there's fruit in there as well. And despite it being dry, the fruitiness can, although it's not sweet, it makes you feel like you're having something which is sweeter than it is. It's quite rich. But that tannic leatheriness is very apparent. 5 years ago, I would have spat this out. I wouldn't have got it. I simply wouldn't have appreciated it. But actually, what this reminds me more of is a really interesting wine, dry wine, you know, and I love it. If things with tannins are quite good to pair with foods as well, but personally I could just drink this by itself. Probably quite good with something, cheeses as well. Traditional cloth-bound cheddar like Montgomery's, Keen's, or something more modern like Havod would be really good with this, because the tannins and the fats counteract the tannins, so the squeakiness and the sort of the slipperiness of the fats balance each other out. And cheddar is the classic cheese of the West Country, which is the traditional heartland of cider making. This is a great cider. If you like your dry ciders, I recommend you try it. If you're not used to dry ciders, I recommend you try it. I just recommend everyone tries it. Why not? Go mad. So yeah, this is the Major cider. Oh, just one last thing, 7.4%. So this is a bit of a beast. It's strong. So I'm going to be sleeping tonight, I suspect. This probably won't be my last cider tonight either. So yeah, that's the Ross-on-Wye Major single variety. I love it. I recommend you try it, and I will be back again with another cider to try in the very near future. Until then, cheers.